Shana Tova, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful and meaningful Yom Kippur. Unfortunately, as Yom Kippur ended, we were delivered the news that there was a terrorist attack in Manchester and that there was another terrorist attack that was averted. And even though this is not new to us, that we are being targeted and being attacked, nonetheless, it is painful every single time when evil rises up and comes to attack on days of what? On days of prayer, on times that Jews are gathering. And how does the world respond? How has the world responded? All over the place. We're looking at how is the world responding to anti-Semitism. And you have parts of the world, or people in the world, that stand up with Israel and say, how can anyone think that going around killing Jews on their holidays, the 7th of October was Simchat Torah, a day that we sing and we dance with the Torah. This is a day of a massacre. And we look around and we see that the world has a very dark element to it that is rising more and more. That people the world has very, very, very much become black and white. There are those who stand with good and those who stand with evil. Those who say, we're out for blood. That's it. We need to fight and kill Jews. We need to fight those who are speaking truth. We need to fight those who we don't agree with what the words that they are saying. Less than a month ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated for speaking in a public place, speaking to youth, talking with them about how important it is that we talk to each other, because if we don't, it gets violent, and it gets violent quickly. And we're looking on Yom Kippur, hearing that right before Yom Kippur, 41 vessels were going to Gaza to destroy the blockade that Israel is illegally doing. And Israel put up warnings and said, you are not allowed to enter. It's an active war zone. You will be detained. And I spent some time watching the videos of the people on the boats, the things that they were saying. You go, how can people be so evil? How can people be so anti? And this is, in a way, one of the things that the Parsha is telling us. And it's a hard thing to hear. But it's also, we're still in the days of Yom Kippur to be able to hear this. Hazinu is Moshe Rabbeinu's words, last words in a form of a song for the nation. And when he's saying these last words to the nation, he says it in song and says it's a mitzvah to remember these songs, sing it, know it. The song is not a happy song. It starts out with the greatness of God and all the great things that God has done for us throughout the years that we knew about and that we didn't know about. And it talks about when the nation will turn its back on God and what will happen. What happens when the nation decides that God is not worth having a relationship with? When God turns his back on us. What happens when God turns his back on us? Then we remember how much we needed God, because things get bad. It says, and I will make sure that there will be those who will survive. I will make sure that I will not attack the entire nation, but that there will be a lot of casualties. But I will do this so that the nations won't say God has abandoned the people. God hasn't abandoned the Jews. Because that would be terrible and unforgivable. And the end of Moshe's song. He ends with the words, Kidam avadam ikom v'nakam yashiv letzarav v'chiper admato amo. That Harinu goim, it starts with Harinu goim. The nations will cheer because God will avenge the blood of his people. And he will bring a redemption and revenge for those who were killed. And when he does that, the land will finally have kapara. The land will finally be able to rest. We're in a terrible, terrible days, and amazing days. It goes together. This is the story of Rabbi Akiva and Chachamim. Rabbi Akiva goes up with the other rabbis, and he sees where the temple was destroyed. When he sees the place that the temple is destroyed, they are crying and he is laughing. And they say, "How can you laugh?" And he asks them, "Why are you crying?" And they say, "Place that the temple was, place where the Kohen Gadol would step his holy feet. Now foxes are running through it. That is what happened to the holiest place in the world. A non-kosher animal runs through it as if it's nothing." And Rabbi Akiva says, that's why I'm laughing. Because the prophecies that talk about the destruction also mean, if they happened, that means that also the prophecies of the rebuilding of the Beit HaMikdash, the rebuilding of the temple, are true. And what the Torah says over here is that we will be attacked by all nations around us. And this will clarify, because in the end of it, what happens? The nations, the good nations, the nations who understand that there is objective goodness in the world, that there is good and there is bad. This is not being politically correct. There is good and there is evil. And that is important. And an important thing that a generation is forgetting. There is objective goodness and objective evilness. Killing Jews in a place of worship is objective evilness. And there are nations that see it and nations that saw that as a victory for the resistance against Jews. And the nations that see the goodness, they get to Hazinu goim amo. They get to sing with Israel when this is all over, because it is coming to an end. Shabbat Shalom, and we should hear only good things.